Hello and welcome again to my studio. It's Lois here from Lois and Morgana Davidson Art, and it's another chilly but really bright, beautiful January day here in the south of England. We've escaped the snow where I live, but parts of the country are covered with snow, so that put me in the mood for another winter painting. So I've painted this evening scene, just showing the last light beginning to fade, and it's the perfect opportunity for another sky practice. As most of you know, I like to paint at least one sky a day, and also for some tree practice because I'm focusing on trees at the moment in the hope to kind of improve with them. And that's always the motive behind these paintings, is just to try and improve and progress and find better ways of doing things. I'm going to just draw out the scene first in pencil, and this is a scene from my imagination, but it's been stimulated by looking at lots of similar winter scenes on the royalty-free site Pixabay, and then taking elements from some of those scenes and putting them together into a simple painting that will help me to practice the elements that I want to. These are my colours that I'm using today, from left to right: Payne's Grey, Indigo, Cobalt Blue, Raw Sienna, Burnt Sienna and Burnt Umber. I'm using Saunders Waterford cold pressed watercolour paper. It's taped to my board and my board's at an angle of about 20 degrees. I'm painting the scene using the wet in wet method, so I shall wet the sky and the land all over first with a large wash brush and some clean water, and then using that same brush I'll begin to paint in the sky with mixtures of indigo, cobalt blue and a little bit of Payne's Grey, and then I'll start bringing some browns and earthier colours into the foreground with burnt sienna, raw sienna and burnt umber. I've sped the painting process up a little bit because this was quite a long painting, but I hope you enjoy watching it and that it gives you some ideas to take into your own paintings. So that's nearly everything painted in wet. I now need to leave this to dry completely, and then I can go in and, using the wet on dry method, I can add value and a few important details to bring this loose background together into a painting. So now it's dry, I'm using a size 14 round brush. This is an Escoda Perla synthetic round, to drag some dark dry brush over those mid-ground trees, and that just helps to define them a little bit more. I'm going to negatively paint around the trunks that I etched through the damp paint earlier, so that I can leave them showing as slightly lighter details in the mid-ground. I hope you can see that adding much stronger value contrast there, but keeping the detail to a minimum, it helps that mid-ground area to stand out. I will then define the trunks and the branches of the tree and do a bit more work on the riverbank before assessing how it looks, and then adding a few finishing touches. I've just loosely reflected the tree in the water by using sort of slightly wiggly lines that kind of mirror the position of the tree vertically below in the river, and that just about does the job, I think. So I've just about finished now. I think I'm going to have a look at it and remove the tape. This will give me a clean white border, and as most of you know, I like to do this because it helps me to see the painting almost as if it's framed with fresh eyes. I can see if I need to make any adjustments to it, just final adjustments, before I leave it and call it done. And I think the land needs a light glaze of cobalt blue, very watery, just to give it that kind of reflective snow look, like the sky is just reflected in the snow. A glaze is where you layer up on top of a dry painting with a transparent layer of another colour, and you can still see the sort of raw sienna tones coming through underneath that glaze, but it just helps to bring the painting together a little bit more and adds to the shadows. And I think that's just about okay. I think I just need to use my liner brush and add a few very fine sort of suggestions of reeds and grasses growing up out of the snow on the riverbank by the tree, and then add a few more into the side on the right. This just helps to add that little tiny bit of extra detail here and there, and it adds a little bit of texture as these marks really work well to set the scene of this snowy riverbank. So I'm reasonably pleased with this. I like the sky. I think it's atmospheric but simple. I think it's got enough value shifts in the sky to show off the deepening shadows in the rows of trees, and I like the value changes that I have here in this picture. I think it helps to add depth and distance, and I hope you found it interesting and helpful watching me in the studio practicing my skies and my trees. Please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support the channel to help us to continue to make all these demos for you, then please follow the links below to Morgana's Patreon or to my Patreon page. And thank you so much to everyone that supports us on Patreon. Welcome to all our new members. We really do appreciate your support so much. I'll see you again soon. Take care and have a lovely weekend.